Hello, students. I hope you're having a good Friday. Today is a B day, and we are continuing with our Cornell notes on Sparta. So, one good thing about a video is that you can pause it whenever you need to. So, you need to find those Cornell notes. And if you did not finish the notes from Wednesday during class, you probably should stop this right now, go back and find the lesson presentation from Wednesday, which was the 24th, and go ahead and finish those first because you are going to be doing something with the notes, and it's better if they are coherent and in the correct order. So if you didn't finish the notes from Wednesday, go ahead and stop this now. There aren't very many notes today, so you'll be okay. Go ahead and finish that and then come back to this particular video. I want to remind you that when we are writing in our Cornell notes, we are writing in the notes part, not in the Q column or the question column. So remember that you are chunking your notes, which means leaving spaces in between the major sections that you're writing, or just even the bullet points that I have up on the screen. You're just leaving spaces in between there so that you can go back and add something. And we will be doing that in class, but it's something that I need to be present for. So we'll do that next week. So I hope you realize that in our previous notes that we covered two major areas of life in Sparta. So this is the third and final part of Spartan life that we'll be talking about, and I hope you can figure out what the overall topic is. So the first thing you are writing, remember to abbreviate where appropriate, is that Spartan men were full-time soldiers and they began military training at the age of 7. And that was called the Agoge system. And by the way, I don't speak ancient Greek, so I'm probably butchering these words. Sorry. This is a pretty terrifying image of a little boy being taken away. And I want you to think about what you were doing when you were 7 and how you would feel if you were taken away from your family, away from your home, and you were sent to live in a military barracks and start this military training. How would that go for you? A subpart of this note about the military training beginning at age 7 is that the boys in the Agoge system were regularly beaten and underfed. They were not given enough proper clothing, and this was all meant to make them really tough warriors. So this wasn't like a summer camp, it wasn't the Boy Scouts, it probably wasn't even the Green Berets. It was worse than that because you were 7 years old. So they did this purposefully to make these boys really tough. So they wouldn't feed them enough. And then when they were encouraged to steal food, but then if they were caught stealing food, they would be punished very severely. Because the thinking was is that when you're in war, you probably are going to have to steal your own food and you have to be good at it and stealthy. So, this system, although it probably produced really good warriors, it also was not very good for mental health, I would guess. And speaking about feeding people, one of the things that the Spartans regularly consumed was it was kind of called a black soup, and it was made with blood, the blood of livestock. Um, Goats, what have you, because like it or not, there's a lot of protein in blood, and so this is was considered to be something that they wanted to do. So Spartan men, full-time soldiers, that was their job. Women were not soldiers, but instead they were left to basically run things while all the men were at war. So Spartan women had a lot more freedom and responsibility than in other Greek city states by a large margin, particularly as compared with Athens, which is the big city state that we're going to compare and contrast Sparta with, but even in Corinth or Argos or Thebes or any place else. So Spartan women had a lot of freedom, a lot of responsibility. They managed the households and any estates, especially when men were at war, And in Sparta, the men were always at war practically. So there was a lot going on all the time. So women were large and in charge, man. They did all the things at home that needed to get done out of necessity because the men were busy doing other things. So probably not so great to be a guy in Sparta, but if you had to live in ancient Greece, maybe being a Spartan woman wasn't so bad. Women were expected to be physically fit to bear strong children for the state. And this is a statuette of a Spartan woman, and she is clearly in an active posture. She's running, she's doing something. And you probably would never find a little this is a small statue, so it's technically like a statuette. You probably wouldn't find a statuette like this of an Athenian woman because A, she wouldn't be running, B, she would have a lot more clothing on, and C, she would probably be accompanied by a man acting as a chaperone. But Spartan women did a lot of physical training. They were not sent to the agoge. They didn't do that kind of thing, but they were expected to run and wrestle and jump and do all the things because they said, "Hey, you're a Spartan woman. We want you to have nice, strong Spartan children. And in order to do that, you have to be really healthy." So, Spartan women had it going on. Last thing I want to tell you about Spartan women is that they could own and inherit property, unlike in many, I would say most other Greek city states. So this is a huge deal. We don't think twice about it. Women do all the things today, but in ancient Sparta, we they did not. So this is a very big deal that women could own and inherit property. They had a lot more control over their lives than women in other Greek city states. This concludes this portion of the Cornell notes. So I hope you did okay. If you needed to, of course, you could have paused or you could now stop and go back. And now I want to tell you what you are going to do next. You have choices. I've already made sure that you finish the Cornell notes from Wednesday. And so you already know that those are going to be in that Google slide presentation in Schoology. In today's lesson folder in Schoology, you can take a practice quiz based on the Cornell notes you just finished. So this is not a real assessment, but it is set up like one. But see how you do. And don't just jump into it. Go ahead and go through your notes first, then set your notes aside, take the quiz, and see how you do. And then finally, if you still have some time left over, you can read all about Athens in National Geographic. This is just page 221. Page 220 is just about vases, Greek vases, and it's pretty interesting to look at, but there's only one page of reading. You can use an actual textbook by getting one from the shelf, or you can access National Geographic Learning Sync, NGL Sync, which is in Class Link. And if you don't remember how to do that, you can check that out in Schoology. If you've done all that and there's still time left over, I suggest that you do some homework for other classes or write a letter to a relative. I hope this helps you on your education journey. Remember that Monday you will be with Miss Sheets. She's going to come from guidance. So be nice to her and have a great weekend. If you got everything done, you don't have any homework. Bye.